Well, it's about 6 a.m. on May the 6th, Saturday. I came up to the cabin, had an estimate done yesterday on the roofing job to replace the old shingles with new metal roof. So I agreed to have that job done this summer if everything falls into place. But here it is, and like I say, 6 a.m. and looking out towards the lake and just a dense fog and that. So I'm sure this will burn off a little later this morning, but there aren't any leaves on the trees yet. Just starting to bud. Just a few mosquitoes came out yesterday during the afternoon. I loaded up a trailer load of firewood to go back. Got that done yesterday and visited a few friends down the road for a while. I don't have any firewood up here yet to work for next year, but I think I got some coming. We'll see. Got most of that pile hauled with a couple of loads now this spring. Got another big pile over there yet to haul back to the house. Spring peepers were out. They really sing towards dusk and after dark. Can hear them a little bit now, but nothing like later in the day. There's a swamp down below the cabin here where they're quite vocal. I don't think we can see with the fog, but the beavers have it dammed up some back there. Yeah, it's too foggy to see the water over there. But there's something interesting over here after the snow melted off here this spring that I noticed. I had a blow down top off from this dead popple tree, but here's a dead balsam that last late summer tipped over, and it was all covered with bark, but when you look at it now, there's no bark left. It's all pretty much polished, pretty clean. When you look on the ground, there isn't any bark there for the most part where it looks like, it had fallen off or anything. So actually, I think what happened is, I suspect it was mostly rabbits, but maybe deer, although I don't think so. But I think rabbits came and consumed most of this bark. Because there's another balsam down below the hill It's not polished off quite as much, but most of the bark is gone off from that one too. So I guess during the winter, as rabbits and things forage around, they find some of these dead balsam and eat the dry bark off from it for, I guess, for nutrients during the winter, which is obviously a lot harder for them to get. So I found that to be quite interesting. I actually hadn't seen that here before. Well, it's mid-morning now. You saw that earlier shot this morning with the fog over the lake and you couldn't see anything. And now obviously that's burned off. The sun's kind of out and that, so I'll get about doing a couple of things. I just wanted to show you. Some of you remember last fall I did that video about cleaning up these cabin walls and putting in those little foam beads for the caulking to go on. Well, there was just one spot that over the winter let loose, so I'll have to get that back up in there. And this summer my goal is to at least get part of these walls stained and that maybe after the roof gets on or whatever. I guess we'll just play it by ear. Part of it sometimes depends on how many bugs there are, black flies and mosquitoes, which right now, being so early yet, they really aren't out, but won't be too long once the weather warms up. Well, it'll soon be time to put the regular lid on the outhouse. This is our winter method. When you sit on that, man, you just instantly warm up. So when we're up here in the fall and deer hunting and stuff, that's the ticket. So, but like I say, in the summer I usually put the regular lid and stuff on there, just because it's not necessary, I guess, to have the foam in the summer. So I came out to the one shed and I realized I had left my water mouse traps here over the winter, and I forgot to put the little ramps up. So as you see, they each have a mouse in them. At some point this winter, I suppose these guys were in here out of the weather and decided to climb up and met their demise. I'll have to remember in the future to keep the ramp up, I guess, so that doesn't keep on happening. So last week when I was up, I came out to the shed here and I wanted to see if the four-wheeler would start, because it sat basically from first part of December all the way till the end of April with never being started. And so I put the key in and turned it over and it popped right off. So I'm going to crank this up today and get it out of the shed, and might use it a little later in the afternoon. So one of the things I've been wanting to get to up here is to trim some of these balsam branches on the bottom part of these trees with the pruning saw. And the reason for doing that is, again, part of this whole Firewise program. And that is, if you see some of these branches, you know, they start hanging pretty low to the ground. And if by chance you had a fire come through, there's a little bit less risk of the fire, you know, jumping from the ground up to those low branches and then crowning into the trees, and of course then creating quite a fire hazard in and around your property. So if you trim those branches up, it again eliminates some of the risk. In reality, I think if there was a fire that came through, there wouldn't be much here to be able to stop it, but it does clean up the woods a little bit, the appearance of, you know, of the land here, and does reduce the risk a little bit of fire. So I will I'll do a couple trees here and that, and then obviously I'm not going to show you everything I'll be doing, but we'll kind of look at a little bit here before and after and see how it looks. So that's the process. Just go around the tree, limb up till you either reach the end of the pole or as high as you want to go can reach. And then you keep doing that, and you see, I think a little bit from the video, how that does eliminate some of that potential for a ground fire to jump up into the trees. So that's the whole purpose of trimming these branches.
I'll do a couple more trees there, and that'll pretty much show the process. So again, that's the process, and so I'll just keep going, and then I'll show you in a bit what I'm going to do with a part of these branches anyway. The rest of them I'll haul to a site away from the cabin here that the Forest Service has, where you can drop off burn material, and then they'll eventually start a fire down there. It's in a gravel pit, and burn off some of this excess material that you have on your land, again to help eliminate some of the fire danger. So here's kind of what it looks like now in front of the cabin here out towards the highway. I think you can see how much more clear it is, and then when you look from the ground up, now you have quite a bit more distance in case there was a fire. I'll probably see a little more trimming, occasionally as we go along and that, but get some of these bigger trees. Eventually I'll cut these trees, by the cabin, these balsam, before they get too big and tall, because with the northwest winds, actually these balsams here would get pushed more than likely towards the cabin. When they get bigger, taller, weaker, we got spruce budworm that comes up here and hits these pretty hard. So anyway, you get the idea of what's going on. So I'm going to go to the other side, the lake side of the cabin, and do some in that area also. So I prune these balsams up here on the lake side of the cabin. You can see the lake down there. Just kind of thin this out. I got to do that tree yet over by that shed, but so one of the things I'm doing with some of these branches is I take my loppers here and kind of take the butt ends of those branches and just clip them into 8 or 10 inch chunks that I'll let dry out, so in the fall and that when you start building fires again, you have some dry kindling to use. That balsam dries up pretty nice. Some of it's already dead branches, and that's already dry, so I can use those sooner than later, but pretty soon hopefully I won't be needing much fire, but it's still cool today. So let me show you a couple things here too that are going on. If you look here, you'll see this hole in the cedar tree. There's another one, and there's a bunch of chips on the bottom. So what's going on here, I don't know if we can, I'll get closer here. I don't know if you can see, I guess you can. Actually, this tree inside had carpenter ants in it. That's why it's kind of got those channels and stuff in it. So the pileated woodpecker knows somehow that there's ants in these trees, and so they come and start hollowing them out, and they can do a tremendous amount of carving with their beaks and get in there and feast away. And then eventually some other birds will a lot of times use those for nesting sites and stuff. So anyway, that's in the cedar. And let's come over here. And here's a balsam that the woodpecker decided that there were bugs in. And again, I can see some kind of channels in there where it would indicate that the ants were in. So actually, I think what's going to happen here with this balsam, since it's got ants in the bottom and now the woodpeckers are nailing it, it's just going to continue to get weaker. And I noticed on this side, you can see there's a crack going up part of the trunk here. So I think sooner than later, this balsam's got to come down, which it's a tall one, but it's leaning this direction over towards the neighbors. But I think I can get it down right in that area. It might clip a couple of these small balsams, but well, not much we can do about that. And then if we go down here, I see the same thing at the bottom. Pileated's been going after that, but you can also see this trunk has a big split in it. So that one's going to be a little bit harder to get down, although I think I could probably go right in that way and miss that old outhouse there. I don't know if that birch tree is going to have to come down. But the other thing with this one, it's got this other balsam that came down. It's leaning on it, although I don't think it's putting a whole lot of pressure on it. So, but I don't think I want to do that by myself, so I'll get maybe my neighbor down the road a ways to come and give me a hand to just get him on the ground anyway. After that, I can take care of it. But man, when you look up there, all those branches, it's going to take a long time to clean that up. But it's necessary. There's also some balsams down in that area which I could trim up and use for campfire wood or whatever. And maybe in the fall I'll have a bonfire with tops or whatever down in that area. So as you can see, the pileateds have been busy. I hear them a lot of times, their call and that. So, but and I had one pileated actually chewing the outside of the sauna window, the trim boards around that one. That was a couple of years ago in the spring. So yeah, but I think that cedar tree there will survive this, but I'm concerned about the balsams. Well, I got all of those branches cleared up, hauled in some piles so you can see now what it looks like, kind of finished anyway for now. Got these couple of balsams trimmed up also. And through here. So I got a big pile of balsam branches here, kind of on the side where I park. So next time when I come up when the trailer's empty, I'll haul that down to that burn site. So that's one pile. I also did that tree, got that up higher. And then I put another big pile over here as well. So I'm sure I'll have to do maybe 3 trips down the road to that drop-off site next time I come up. Get these out of here. Normally I kind of let them sit over the summer, and in the fall I burn them, but if they got that site, that'll be a lot better. Drop it off there, and then they can burn it whenever, and they'll have the pumper trucks and all that, so it's a lot safer. A couple of times I've been worried after I lit the fire that maybe I shouldn't have done that today, but so far it's worked out okay. But as long as I keep that site open, I think I'll just transport brush and stuff down there. So I think that's enough of the heavy work today. Time to go in and get something to eat.